Hi everyone, this is Amanda with the Touch of Whimsy by Amanda on the Paint Couture YouTube channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to make some ceramic charms out of air dry ceramic clay. First you're going to need some clay cutters and some clay tools, a rolling pin, some detail tools if you want to get really fancy, and some air dry ceramic clay. I got this off of Amazon, but I believe it's cheaper at a hobby store, so FYI. You can make these out of polymer clay, but I just prefer working with ceramic. You're going to take a hunk of that clay, just enough to make a few charms, and you're going to put the rest back into the plastic bag because it will dry out pretty quickly. I'm just going to make some simple square shapes. I got these off of Amazon, and I believe my other ones were from Hobby Lobby, and they're perfect charms shape. So I'm just going to cut a little square and smooth the edges out a little bit with some water in my finger. And then after that, I'm going to make a little bracket for that charm to sit on out of some jewelry wire. Just going to take a little piece, probably about 1 inch, and bend it in half, and I'm going to slide that through the top of the charm. And this is just going to give that charm a place to hang. And then I set these aside and let them dry overnight in front of a fan, and they are dry the next day. It just really depends on the thickness when you are working with air dry clay. And these are ones that I did yesterday. So after they're dry, you can clean them up a little more with just a little sanding paper. This is just a sanding pad, and you don't have to press really hard since it is clay. And this is just going to take down any of those rough edges or finger marks that you have left in it. And I made some that look like animals. So this is my cat. And there was some details on my animals that I couldn't reach with this foam pad. So I have these little sanding sticks that I use in my jewelry, and those will just get into those fine details. This step isn't necessary, but it just makes your piece look a little bit more polished. And I got these off of Amazon as well. Now, after you have all that done, you can paint your charms however you want to. I've decided to paint mine like a metallic on the base, and then do some floral designs on the front. But first, I give each charm a coat of gesso. This is invisible clear gesso. You can use whatever color that you have. These are white, so it worked out well. I didn't have to prime it or anything. So I coat the back and then flip it over and coat the front when it's dry to all my charms. I decided to paint backs different metallics, and I started out with this Arabian Gold Metallic Luxe by Paint Couture. This is an acrylic paint, and it needed a couple coats. Next, I used some gilding wax, and this works great. It does really good coverage. It's just extremely messy when you're working with beads and trying to get that not on other parts, and I'm impatient, so it's not the easiest medium to work with when you're doing jewelry, but it does give a beautiful finish. And third, I went in with some stencil paste. This is Copper Penny, and this worked really well. It was thick enough that it didn't need 2 coats, and it dried pretty quickly. So And then after I got the sides and the back coated with the metallics, I went ahead and did a base coat of purely white chalk paint on the front. Since it is sunflower season, I decided to do a couple charms with sunflowers. Now, I probably spent a couple hours on these charms today, but sometimes you just need to enjoy painting, right? So I went in with my yellows and browns and blacks and then finished it off with some green. But of course, you can paint your charms as any way as you want. That's the beauty of art. Then I took a little bit of that Arabian gold and went around the edges and the center of the sunflower. Now, after they're dry, I take them back into my jewelry studio and I decide to finish mine with UV resin. Now, you can clear coat these with any kind of varnish or Mod Podge, but I just prefer UV resin. It's a little stronger. So I just put a dollop on the back, and I have these disposable brushes that I use a lot in my jewelry and painting, and just kind of brush a coat on the edges and the back. And then I set it under the UV light for a couple cycles, and then I do the same to the front. And then when you're done, you get some beautiful charms like these. All right, everyone, thanks for watching.